Oh, this is my name, Priscilla, and this is my Instagram. So we can just like, you know, you guys process hair and everything with like bleach and all that stuff. People process differently, and sometimes colors fade faster on different clients. So it's the same thing with nails and gel extensions. So I highly recommend you guys, you know, go online, read reviews, just kind of educate yourself, be your own advocate. That's kind of what I've done. I've been doing nails for about a year and a half, and I have so many clients now. I never would have thought that my business would grow this fast, but I've seen like a lot of awesome results with a press. It's the difference between a press and acrylics mostly is that it's a whole entire soft gel system, and it's not like a polymer, which acrylic is. And so like I feel like it's healthier for the nails, but there's a lot of people that will say, oh no, this or that, but just from what I have seen in the year and a half, I haven't seen as much damage. There's no perforation line on the nail. Lifting, you can kind of like get ahead of it. I think that the standard like lifespan of gel extensions is anywhere between 2 to 4 weeks, and I usually like to do a fill or remove the nails at 3 weeks, because after that usually people start to see a lot of lifting, get catches in their hair and stuff like that. So now you guys know like kind of general info. We're gonna get started, okay? If you guys want to come closer or anything, you're totally welcome to. I see a little bit of gel residue on my client's nails, so we already put some hand sanitizer on. I always recommend hand sanitizer, washing your hands. I get cute little hand sanitizers from Bath and Body Works, basically what I'm gonna do is wrap the nails in a little bit of foil. That's the proper way to remove gel. You just kind of etch the surface and get that glossy shine off of the nail before you wrap with cotton, acetone, and foil. I totally spaced and didn't bring any foil, so if there's any kind soul in here that would totally be awesome and bring me a little bit of foil, I would so appreciate that.
Can I see your phone so I can start it?
Yeah. Here you go. So you wanna, I'd say the most important part about any nail, if you're gonna do acrylics, polygel, gel extensions, even a gel mani, regular manis, the prep is the most important part. That's gonna prevent lifting. It's gonna look nicer when you actually apply anything to the nail. It's gonna be smoother. So you just kind of set the foils. Doesn't need to be perfect. You're gonna throw it away anyway, so we'll do this. Depending on what brand of gel they're using, sometimes it can lift really fast, sometimes it can take forever. I've noticed that with oily gel specifically, like oily gel polish, if you are soaking, you want to, as soon as you take off the foil or as soon as you take their hands out of the acetone from soaking off, you want to start scraping it off right away, because that gel brand specifically will reharden. So it doesn't matter how long you soaked it, if you leave it there for a while, it'll reharden, because it's like trying not to lift off. So I'm just going to do this really quick. And also, before I wrap the nails, I'm gonna cut her nails, because with a press or with any soft gel, if the nails are too long, the edges will stick out of the bottom of the nail. So you'll see, I'll just, for like example's sake, grab a nail, and when it's too long, you'll see that like when you put it on the nail, the edges stick out from the bottom. So if your client is trying to grow their nails out, it can only grow so far before you need to take the gel extensions off and start like taking care of their natural nail. Otherwise, if they're totally cool with just doing artificial nails all the time, then cut those babies down all the time if you can. If your client's cool with that, I recommend it, because the edges are sticking out, it doesn't look right, and it also causes lifting faster. So always recommend that you, oh man, I got my cotton. I always forget something. We'll just use these. These are lint-free nail wipes. I like to use these to wipe the like gel residue off of nails, but it's also really good if you...
They're bringing cotton.
Oh, it's okay. This works fine. So you just cut them to the size of the nail, and you grab the nail, you saturate the wipe or the cotton with, thank you, with acetone, thank you so much, and you wrap the nail. Sorry, this, put it right here. And you're gonna do this to all the nails. Some of you guys might be wondering, like, why don't you just file it off? You don't want to thin your client's nails out too much, because once their fingernails go into the gel light, some people have really sensitive nail beds, and it's gonna burn. Especially with the adhesive that you put for the gel extensions, it's a thicker consistency than regular gel base. So the thicker that the gel is, the more that it burns. So we're gonna do this.
Can you repeat that again? The thicker than the...
The thicker the consistency of the gel, the more it might burn inside the light. So if you're doing a hard gel, or like the adhesive for the gel extensions, it's gonna burn more the thicker that it is. Some people even, their nails hurt and feel sensitive when you use regular base coat, and you just have to kind of like mentally prepare your client and let them know. They're always way like more comfortable when you let them know ahead of time, because if you just have them put their hand inside the light and they burn their fingers, they're not gonna trust you. So here we go. Quick little info about the gel extension system. I would say if you guys are just starting out and you're like really like struggling with acrylic, but you want to be doing nails, this is a really fast money maker, like really fast. People charge anywhere between $40 to like $80 for a full set of gel extensions. And the system, the whole system with the nail tips, the adhesive, primer, dehydrator, it's only about $120. And if you guys like do your research and catch them when they're having sales, sometimes it's even cheaper than that. So you could make literally all the money that you invested into the system back in like 2 sets of nails if you price yourself right. So, and also for like a press application when it's on clean nails, I've done a full set in less than an hour. So with, you know, acrylics, you have to balance the nail, you have to put the tips on, you have to apply the acrylic, you have to buff it, you have to polish it. That can, I mean, even me, I've been doing this for like over a year, and it takes me 2 hours to do a full set of acrylics. So I highly recommend this system. It's awesome. I love it. My clients love it. It looks really natural. Other things, people will notice like imperfections, but with these, it's almost like you can't even tell that it's an artificial nail. A lot of people think it's real nails. So I'm gonna put these over here. So the a press system, it comes in, it's really easy. It's just 3 steps. The first step is a dehydrator. Some people call this pH balance or balance, just balance. And basically what this does is it dehydrates the nail. So once you've prepped the nail and you've wiped the nail with alcohol, you're gonna use this. This will make your nail dry. Then after you do that step, you're gonna do this is a primer. So this is what really holds the nail on to your client. And I would like, you don't need to use a lot of this. One coat and you're good. People kind of go crazy with primer because they think that it's gonna make their nails last like way longer, but actually if you use too much primer, it'll cause lifting. So you use it sparingly. And then the last step is the extend gel. This is basically what you're doing before you put the nail on is just a gel mani. Like a lot of people psych themselves out, they think they're doing this whole process. Really, this is just a gel mani if you didn't put the nails on. And this is your adhesive, and then once you apply this and it's cured, you apply the nails with this as well. So 3 easy steps, and then these are the tips that I'm going to be using. I'm using the stiletto tips. The reason why I like these tips is because this is the easiest shape to transition to coffin, to transition to almond, to transition to round. If you order the other tips, you can totally do the same thing. You can reshape them, but I just find like this is the fastest from like going from this shape to any other shape. Also, they're like really long. This is the longest shape that a press has in their whole collection. And I mean, a lot of my girls like the length, so I recommend these. Later on, once you guys like gain your clientele and you guys want to invest more into other shapes because you don't want to have to reshape these, you guys can totally do that too. And this brand has really cute little cutouts. So like there's tips that have little star cutouts in the tip or little heart cutouts. They come in coffin, they come in round, they come shorter. So like, but this is my favorite shape. It's also the natural shape. So they have natural and they also have sculpted. The difference between those is that this one's gonna be more like flat and arched like a natural nail, and the sculpted have more of a C curve on the tip. I find that when you have clients that have really flat nails, sculpted's really hard to apply because there's so much space in between the natural nail and the actual curve of the nail. So you have to build up the nail to fit in that tip. I'm gonna check and see how my client is doing. You guys can use an orange wood stick or you can use a metal pusher. And you just gently wanna kind of scrape off whatever residue is there. You don't have to push too hard. You don't want to hurt the client's nail bed, and you just want to get that stuff off. Most of like this little tiny white dust will come off when you buff. So you're just gonna take everything off. So this is how you do a removal of a regular gel mani, okay you guys, in case you haven't really figured that out or you guys have trouble taking gel polish off your clients.
And what's left on her nail is glue or polish?
No, there's nothing left now. Basically what was on there before I scraped it off was base coat residue. I don't know, did you have a gel mani? Or gel extensions, yeah. So this was just the adhesive residue from her last set. So you just buff, you don't have to overdo it. You guys want to pay attention. You don't want to like get lost in conversation and then you're just like creating all this friction and then their nail starts to burn and feel sensitive. So this is all coming off really easy. It really didn't take that long, so...
Yeah, that was like 10 minutes, more or less, no?
Yeah, I think it was less than 10 minutes. Usually, it takes about that time to remove a gel mani. It takes oh, that's another thing. When you remove acrylics, I don't know if you guys have tried or had it done on yourself, but usually it takes anywhere between like 20 to 40 minutes to remove acrylic, sometimes longer if you're like really got a thick acrylic on there. When you remove the gel extensions, The process to remove the gel extensions is you file off all the color. You don't file like the actual gel extension off, you just file all the color. And then once you're down to your like naked nail where it's just the extension with no polish, then you cut the ends that are not attached, like all the free edge from the natural nail that is just the gel extension. And you soak it off in acetone. And it takes anywhere between 15 to 20 minutes. So that's another reason why I love this system, because the removal is so easy and it's also way faster. So the faster you work, the more money you make. And if you price yourself right, with just 2 clients, you'll be making over $100 in like less than like 3 hours. If you're like, you know, practicing and, you know, you're on it. A lot of what takes me the longest is the nail prep and me talking. So
What's the most clients you've taken in a day?
the most clients I've taken in a day is 7 clients.
Oh, wow.
And it was like a mixture of gel manis and full sets. So, but on a normal day, like if I can have it my way, I only really like to take 3 clients a day. I make over $100. And as long as I make $100, I know that's kind of like lowballing myself right now. I'm happy with that. That's if you're working. Well, I work almost every day of the month, and that's like $3,000 if you're like, you know, pricing yourself at that cost. But you can make up to like $500, $600 a day if you like really want to make as much money as I can. So now what I'm doing, after I got the residue off, I am cutting the nails down to a length that I feel like is gonna be good for the gel extensions to go on seamlessly. And the way that you're gonna wanna cut the nails is actually from corner to corner. You don't wanna cut across, and then that little middle part, you just cut that little part off. That's gonna prevent cracking for your clients' nails. Some clients have really thick nails, and even when you cut just one edge, it kind of cracks it across. So you always want to try and protect your client from any sort of discomfort. And that's also the proper way to cut it. That's going to be on the state board test, okay, when you guys are cutting things. And then I'm just going to file to make it smooth, and I'm just doing like a natural round shape.
What about if you have like a senior citizen client whose nails are very brittle? How do you handle that?
Well, that's why I said the whole cutting technique will really help. Like, I've had older clients that have really brittle and their nails kind of peel and stuff. And when you're cutting their nails,
It cracks sometimes.
it cracks. And that's why you also kind of want to cut away from where you can see, like, this is the free edge, and then this is their nail, like their nail bed underneath is where their skin's attached to their nail. You want to kind of stay awake, because you can always file. You guys don't have to cut like the shortest that you can cut. You can file shorter. And with older clients, that's usually what I try to do, because I have had somebody's nails crack, and like it scared me. So I could imagine like how
Do
they
you prep
felt.
them with any like oils or anything to make them soft, or?
Usually I don't. I actually, you guys are gonna notice that I don't even have a finger bowl here. I don't like to do wet manis. For me, it's kind of like you're basically asking for lifting. A lot of times when you go out and you get your nails done at different salons, you're gonna like notice that when they do the acrylic application, they don't use finger bowls. The reason why is because you don't want to have any moisture in that nail that's not necessary. Any moisture is going to cause lifting, and I don't use any oils or lotions until I'm done. That's also another reason why I like to work with gel, because you don't have to worry about ruining the polish. As soon as you cure it, it's there and it's not going anywhere unless you want it to go. And also, if you guys notice, when I'm filing on the natural nail, I'm not doing any seesaw filing. The reason why you don't want to seesaw filing is when you go back and forth. It actually causes the nails to like be more jagged and shredded up, and you can do seesaw filing when you're working on artificial nails, but I would recommend that you guys just get into the practice of no seesaw filing, because if you create those bad habits, then you're going to carry those into when you guys are doing actual work, and you don't want to do that. So now that I've filed and shaped all the nails, they're all pretty much the same. Like, they don't have to be like absolutely perfect, unless your client wants a transparent nail. And you guys should, when you guys are doing your client consultations, you should be talking about what style they're trying to go for and whether or not they want their actual natural nail to be seen through the nail. Because if they do, then you do want to make that nail really perfect. Now that I've shaped and filed, I'm going to push back dry. You don't want to push back hard. You don't need to push back hard. A lot of people call these Russian style manicures, but it's basically a dry mani. You don't put their hand in water or anything. You just push back, and you don't want to use any force. You only want it to go back as far. And basically what you're doing is you're just pushing that dead skin that's on the surface of the nail back so that you can clean it out with your nipper and with your cuticle bit. That's another thing. When you're doing the press application or any soft gel application, I highly recommend you guys have e-files, and then you guys get cuticle bits. Now cuticle bits are like the norm in a lot of salons. Cuticle bits are bits that go onto your e-file that are specifically meant for cuticle work. They come in like a billion different shapes and sizes. You guys are going to be able to experiment on your own. You guys get your own stuff. My favorites are actually these like cylinder shape bits. They're not coarse at all. When you put it into your e-file, you don't have to put it crazy high. You don't have to crank it high, and it's actually really gentle. I can run it across my skin. It doesn't hurt. And what you're going to do is you're going to go into the cuticle line, and you're just going to clean out that dead skin that you push back. And I love this because not only does it make the nail look like really clean and beautiful, it also removes the shine from the nail. So you guys have to etch the nail before you guys apply acrylic or gel extensions. And this kind of etches the nail without being so invasive. And you're also going to need a bit to etch the inside of your gel extension nail as well. So I highly recommend you guys go online. Amazon has them for super cheap, and they come in sets. Sometimes there's 3, sometimes there's 5, depending on which one you guys get. And they're all different shapes and sizes. You guys are probably wondering, oh, what's the difference between metal bits, ceramic bits? And what I've learned is that ceramic bits don't get as hot so fast. So ceramic bits are kind of cooler on the client's nails. Clearly, any of these can hurt your client, but that's why you want to practice on yourself before you practice on clients. I wrecked my nails before I ever worked on other people's nails, and then I had a lovely friend. She's my best friend, and when I got my kit for manicuring, it came with a file, and it was like an e-file, and it was not a good e-file. I cut her so many times. So that's why I highly recommend you guys practice on yourselves, because you don't want to go around hurting anybody and doing any damage that, you know, you can't really take back that stuff.
How did you get comfortable with the angle, like which angle you're holding it at?
Okay, so if you guys notice, I always start from pinky to thumb. The reason being is that when you start polishing, you're not going to ruin the other polish that you just laid down. And also I'm holding her nails on top of my hand, because if I go like this, it feels kind of awkward. And I'm holding it underneath. And also when I'm moving the e-file, she has really open nail bed, so it's really easy to work on her. But when you have clients that have like embedded nails, you're gonna have to pull this skin back. So you kind of just pinch it on the sides, and you can turn and rotate the finger. And then if that's not a good hold for you, you can even go over, and you can get it from this angle, so you can go like this. And when you're using your e-file, you always want to be pulling towards you. You never want to be going back and forth or away from you, because this file, it can jump. And so if you're going up, it might catch the client's skin, or like, you know, it freaks them out. People have to trust you. You have to be in full control. That's also why you don't need to crank your e-file so high. I have it probably at like somewhere between a quarter of the speed to like half speed. And the reason being is the faster it's going, the more rotations it's having. So it's getting hotter. It's friction. So that's kind of how I got comfortable. And you see, like here on the sides, I turn the nail. You want to have full control. Don't be scared that like you're pulling the client. Sometimes you do have to wrestle with your clients. I'm sure like when you're brushing people's hair, they're like pulling away from you sometimes. It's the same thing. So.
Doesn't it remove the nail bed too?
I'm not over filing. So right now I'm only going where there's dead skin. That's the only thing you want to remove. You don't want to remove live skin, because you can cut your client. And I use a little nail brush, a manicure brush, to wipe off the excess. And also I like to use these brushes because you can disinfect these, and like you can brush, and I get soft bristles because it helps make the client feel more comfortable. Sometimes the bristles are really hard, and a lot of places out there, when you guys get your nails done, sometimes they have that big poofy brush and they brush off your nails. That is like an infection waiting to happen, guys. They don't disinfect those brushes, so if you're going to a nail person right now and they use one of those, tell them not to use it on you. Now after I've cleaned the dead skin out with the cuticle bit, I'm gonna go back in and just remove the stuff that's already lifted up. That's why I really like using the cuticle bit, because it basically does most of the work for you, and you just have to go in and like do the final touches. So I'm just gonna remove only the dead skin, no live skin. You can see the dead skin, it's like a different color. It's usually white, and you don't have to do too much, because if you do too much, it's gonna hurt your client. And a lot of what the white looks like, which you guys might be thinking like, oh, that's dead skin, why aren't you taking it off? It's just a little bit ashy from the filing. So you just take off the dead skin. You don't want to be too intrusive. And it's really easy once you use the cuticle bit to just go in there and grab whatever is left. And if you guys have to go in a second time with the cuticle bit, you can totally do that too. I sometimes do that because I'll notice that something's still there, or you know, it doesn't look as clean as it. People don't like the way their cuticles look. They're gonna be focused on their cuticles and not how cute their nails look. So make sure you guys do this. A lot of people are trying to rush into the aesthetic part, but they don't realize that, like, you know, this is part of it. They don't want just cute nails and like some crusty cuticles that are like peeling up at the edges.
Is there a time that the nail is so damaged that you have to decline to do the job?
Yeah, absolutely. If you see that a client needs to take a break, or they need to have a nail strengthening treatment, or any other treatment, like for brittle nails, for peeling nails, for sensitive nails, they have all sorts of different nail treatments that you can recommend to your clients. They sell them at most nail supply stores, and like, you know, beauty supply like Sally's or Cosmoprof, bunch of different places.
How long should their nails rest before you do it again once you've determined that they have to rest?
That totally depends on each client. You guys have to look, you guys have to see. This, I'm gonna go and wipe the nail bed with alcohol. So I like, basically so it dehydrates, and also so that it takes any dust or residue off that like is just, it's not actually attached to the nail, it's just like there lingering. And I recommend you guys use like 2 nail wipes per hand, because if you're just wiping all the nails with the same nail wipe, you're basically like dragging, like your first nail is going to be clean, your second nail is going to be clean, but you're dragging the oils across each nail. So these are super inexpensive. I buy them on Amazon. It comes with like 1,000 wipes for like $6 or $5, and the one that I order comes with this little pump. So, or sometimes they come with like the little nail clips, so you don't have to use foil. You could just use the little nail clips. And so I'm using about 5 nail wipes right now. So I use 1 nail wipe for 2 fingers, and you just throw them away. I know, like at first it might seem like, man, that's a lot of waste, but your clients are gonna thank you when their nails aren't lifting 5 weeks out, you know. And also, you know, you want to create a reputation for yourself. It's not just about how it looks. Like, you want people to trust you. It's a relationship. Some clients might be with you for a month. Some clients might be with you for 5 years. You never know, like, how that whole dynamic might work out, but you want to create a relationship with trust. That's why I'm really glad that you asked that question, because if your client needs a break, you need to tell them. You have to let them educate your client. You know, a lot of times people don't realize how many like atrocities are going on out there in the real world when they're getting their nails done. A lot of people are used to like people using used files on them. Like, that's scary. Like, to me, when I'm educated and I walk into a salon and I see that they're using files that have been used, I'm like, I'm not coming back here. I'm leaving. Like, I've done that before. I've walked out and I'm like, sorry, I gotta take a phone call, and then I just don't go back because I don't trust them. And if there's no trust, then there's no future relationship with that client. So now the nail bed is clean. You can see there's like no dead skin on the surface of the nail, and also the cuticle line looks really clean. So now if there's like any little tiny jagged edges, I'll just grab a buffer. You don't even need a file, and you just buff off that little stuff. And now I'm gonna start with the 1, 2, 3 step. Dehydrator, and we're gonna go. And you guys, it's not gonna, you don't need to saturate the nail. You just need enough to where you see that each nail is completely covered, and go all the way to the edges. If you're only doing it in the middle, then nails are only gonna stick to the middle.
I have another question. I mean, like, let's say within a year, how many times is it good to give the nails a rest, and for how long?
Okay, so I was watching this video the other day, and it was talking about what's healthy for nails, what's not healthy for nails, what causes most damage. And the real answer is that there's no like one product that's like gonna make it great. It's people. That's why I'm telling you guys that you need to pay attention and advocate for your clients. Like, if your clients don't need a break, then they don't need a break. If they need a break, then you give them a break. You tell them why they need a break. You tell them how long they need a break for, and all of that is going to be based off of what you're seeing, what you're assessing on that client. I haven't had a break in over a year. Like, I take my nails off maybe for like a day or 2, but that's just because I don't have time to redo them. But like, if your client's nails are healthy and you're taking proper care of them, they don't need a break. But if they need a break, then you'll determine that based off of the damage that you see.
Because after a year, maybe the nails are like softened, like
and usually the reason why the nails are softening or they're really thin is because of overfiling, improper removal. So if you're going to a place and they're ripping off your nails and you're like, why do my nails hurt? Why are my nails getting so brittle? Why are they so thin? It's because they're not removing them properly. If you're soaking off and you're doing it the proper way, your nails shouldn't be damaged. If you are doing it the proper way, you're going to see that in the result of your client's nails. And another thing is telling your clients, some clients think that they're doing you a justice by peeling off their gel manis or picking off their acrylics or their full set. They're just taking off layers and layers of their natural nail, and you need to tell them that. And sometimes I have to tell clients, like, you're coming to me every 4 weeks. By the time you get to me, half of your nails are broken, they're peeling off, they're lifting. You need to make an appointment every 3 weeks. And then once you've given them all the information and they still decide to do whatever they do, that's all you can do for them. Like, can't really like force people to do something they're not willing to do. And a lot of people, they can't afford a regular service, so that's a risk they're willing to take with their own nails, and that's a risk they're willing to take with their own nails. So you just want to do a thin, it doesn't need to be thick coat, and you're just doing like you would do a base coat for a gel mani. And you can see that this consistency of this gel is a little bit thicker than regular gel polish, and you want to get all of the edges. You want to make a really nice base before you apply the gel extensions.
When do you apply prime?
I already did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So I did the dehydrator first, and then I did the primer after that. And now I'm doing the third step. This is the adhesive that will keep the nails on. And like I said, you don't need to do a thick coat. You just need a thin coat on there. You don't want to keep brushing and brushing and brushing, because when you brush too much, you actually create air bubbles. So you just want to go, and you can see I'm pinching the sides of the nail to get into that corner side of each nail. Once you guys do this, you're going to want to put the hand in for a full 60-second cure. There's a lot of different brands, and some brands cure within 30 seconds and some brands cure within 90 seconds, depending on what brand you have. This one cures in 60 seconds. So go ahead, put your hand inside. Ooh. And it's 60 seconds. This gel light, also you guys, you go out and you shop around. I recommend getting dual lamps. So like this one is an LED lamp, but there's some that are LED and UV. I recommend those because if you do get a product that only cures with UV, then you have a light that serves both purposes. And there's a lot of lights out there. You guys don't need to go for the $300 light. Go for something that's within your budget, and that you read the reviews. Make sure that the product that you're getting isn't like super cheap, but you also don't need to break your bank. Like there's a lot of products out there that are affordable. My light only cost me $100. My e-file only cost me $100. There's some brands out there that charge you like $300. If you guys get any like excess gel on the edges, you just wanna, where's my acetone? Where did I put it? Oh, there it is. You're gonna put it inside your dapping dish and put the lid over. Always remember to put the lid because your acetone will evaporate crazy fast. I'm burping my brush, so I'm getting the air bubbles out of my brush. You just do that by pushing down on the sides, and then wipe the excess acetone because you don't need a lot. And if you get any, you just clean that tiny little edge. And after that, I usually wipe my brushes with a lint-free nail wipe. Or they even have lint-free like brush wipes, but it's just a giant lint-free nail wipe, so don't be fooled. And I'm gonna finish applying the rest of the base.
Yeah, I noticed these don't have a lot of odor either.
Yeah, these don't have it actually has like a minty smell. It doesn't smell strong like acrylic, which is really good for like if you have clients that are really sensitive to smell, and even for yourselves. I hate smelling strong odors the whole day. It gives me a headache. When I was in manicuring, I used to get headaches all the time because people would be doing full sets all day. This is less dust too because the shape of the nail is already so perfect. You don't actually have to shape the surface of the nail. You just have to shape the free edge of the nail. And everything looks good. Okay, go ahead and put that hand inside. And now what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab your tips. I like to size after I've done the base coat because that base coat does add a little bit of like body to your nail. So if you do it before, sometimes the shape that might have fit them before doesn't fit the edges as well. So I do the sizing afterwards. Keep it on the nail. And for the sizing of the press, it's the full nail. So what you want to make sure is that you're covering each sides of the free edge. So you see how this tip, it's covering both sides of that free edge. There's nothing sticking out. That's what you want to go for. If you have a size that's too small or too big, clearly you're not going to want to use the size that's too small because it's not going to cover the surface of your nail. So you're going to want to go for the bigger size. And if it's way too big, you can always file the edges of your nail, like just a little quick file, and resize it and make sure that it fits after you filed a little bit, because some people have different nail beds and they only give you 10 sizes. So just like pay attention to that, because people will notice if the nail doesn't cover the whole surface and they'll complain about that, and then you're gonna have to remove the nail because you're not gonna let your client walk out like that. This is too small. That one looked like it fit, but it's not covering each free edge. So I'm gonna go up a size. Just a second. Okay, beautiful. I love the shape of these nails because it's not just like it's not just a flat tip, it actually creates that arch. So if you have somebody that has really flat nails, it creates that nice apex a lot of people are looking for. And also, it's just smooth, so you don't have to do so much work. Now I'm gonna etch the inside of the gel extension, and I'm gonna take a little bit of a coarser bit to that because if the surface is too smooth, it's not going to really grip on. So you want to create a porous surface so that your gel has something to hold on to. So right now I'm just etching the inside. And you don't have to push down too hard. Let the bit do most of the work for you, because if you push too hard, you'll make a hole in the nail. Once you've etched all the nails on the inside of the nail, you are going to take that step 2 primer and coat the inside of the nail just on the etched surface. And when a lot of your clients are going to get distracted and they're going to want to go on their phone, and then they're going to want to reach into their pocket because they want a cough drop or something, and you want to tell them no, because if they put their hands inside their pockets, there's a tacky layer on that base of the nail, and it's going to get a bunch of hair and lint and stuff stuck to it. So you want to tell them to just wait for you and be patient. This takes like 10 seconds.
So that's the primer.
This is the primer. I etched the inside of the nail. Now I'm primering what I etched on the inside of the nail. You don't need like a crazy amount, just a little bit. And now you can see like it went from being a cloudy, opaque color to like a shiny, sticky surface. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna need your little handy dandy LED handheld light. These are super inexpensive. I got the 3-pack for like $7 on Amazon. So you guys don't need to break the bank again, like I said. And you're gonna take your adhesive and you're gonna just put a little bit on the inside. You don't need to put a lot, just a little bit. And what you're gonna do now is you're gonna take the hand and you're gonna kind of like wiggle it a little and like rock it until all the air bubbles are out. And you guys see I'm going from cuticle to free edge. You don't want to do it the other way because then whatever excess gel is going to get pushed up onto the cuticle line. If there's stuff on the cuticle, it's going to cause lifting. So now I've sealed it, there's no air bubbles, and I hold it right here on the edge. I don't put my finger over the surface because when I cure it, that stuff that's underneath my finger is not going to get cured. And then when you take your finger off, it's going to let air bubbles come in. So now there's no air bubbles. It's all the way to the free edge. And I'm going to take my light and I'm going to do this for about 30 seconds. You're just freezing it into place. This isn't a full cure. You just want to make sure that nothing else is getting in there. And you're going to do the same thing with the rest of the nails. And when you're placing the nail, this is a really good way to not end up with crooked nails. You don't just place it on the nail, you follow the bone of the hand. So when you're putting the nail, you want it to go in alignment with the bone structure of the person's hand. So now I'm going to do the same thing with the other nails. And with every nail, you do the same thing. You follow the bone structure, and it's going to help with putting the nails on straight. You're going to push it into the cuticle line. You don't need to put it on the cuticle. You just put it near the cuticle. You can kind of tap it. And then if you do have excess gel, like this nail has a little bit too much, you just take your French manicure brush and you wipe out the excess. And there, it's clean. A nice clean edge. And if you have any up here, you wipe that too. Here's where your acetone and your dapping dish come in real handy, because you don't want to have to clean that up after once it's cured and hardened. I'm going to go in and clean underneath again because it's causing a little bit of excess. And there's no air bubbles. I like the placement. I'm going to cure it. You guys have any questions about any of this stuff?
When did you find out you could use a little light like that?
Actually, when you buy the starter kit from a press, it comes with a little tiny light. But the shape of that light is like a square. And so it's not that easy when you like have to hold it over. I like this one. Well, the starter kit is only like $120. So if you're buying each product from them individually, it's going to be more expensive than if you buy the whole starter kit. But like I said, you're investing that $120 one time, and then you get 500 tips. You get the dehydrator, the primer, the adhesive, and the little light. So it's a good buy. You can make that money back. I charge $60 for a full set with no art. That's just like a basic set. And I made that back in 2 sets. So, you know, it seems like a lot up front, but once you realize how much money you can make on it, it's a no-brainer. So I'm just curing it.
What's the fastest time you've ever done a set?
A full set of gel extensions I've done in an hour. And now you guys see that I'm looking at it like this because this is how your client's gonna look at their nails. When they look at their nails, they're looking like this. They're going like this. when I'm looking at it, I'm seeing it like this. So what might look straight to me doesn't look straight to my client. So right here you can see her nails are extended, her fingers are extended, they're straight. They're going with in alignment with her fingers.
Yeah.
I know, I love it.
Some can leave them like that clear.
You can if you want to. Yeah, there's some polishes that are translucent, like the there's like trendy Jolly Rancher colors and stuff like that. I keep checking, and if you guys ever end up in that situation, which it'll happen once in a while, sometimes we get too comfortable and then the nail ends up crooked, you better hope that your client doesn't want to keep that full length of the nail and that you can file it, shape it to where it looks straight, because it can happen.
How would you take off the nail? Just re-soak it off?
I wouldn't, if I can salvage it, I will. If I can't, then yeah, I'll soak it off. I'll keep it real with them. That's honesty is the best policy, guys. If you guys mess up and then you guys just start working on it and your client's not happy and you're not saying anything, they're gonna not trust you. And it's all about communication. Like if you communicate to your client like, hey, I don't really like the way this came out, I don't think it's gonna make the finish look like great, then they'll probably trust you and be like, you know what, do whatever you need to do. Okay, now you're gonna put the hand in. Once you've like flash cured those nails into place, you put it in for a full minute, because whatever didn't cure, maybe like the edge of the nail, it's gonna cure in there.
4 minutes?
1 minute. 1 full minute, yeah.
Priscilla, what got you started to do like nails? What sparked your interest?
Okay, you guys, I want you guys to check this out, and then I'll answer that question. See here, my polish drifted a little bit, and if that happens, it happens. You're gonna wanna like just cut the excess gel off, and then you're gonna wanna file it a little bit. And you just remove the tacky layer first, because if you file when it's still sticky, then there is going to be like dust residue in the nail. So I just take it real quick, I wipe it, and I file a little bit. And you want to be gentle, it doesn't need to be too much. This part's going to be covered. But like I said, you don't want anything on the skin because it's going to cause lifting. And these things are really easy to fix, because this whole part is going to be covered with the nail. That's another reason why I love doing nails. I'm going to go back to that question, is that if you cut too much hair, there's no putting the hair back on. If you damage the hair, and it's damaged, you have to wait until there's that new growth. But with nails, it's really easy. You can file it off, you can soak it off, you can wipe it off before you cure it. Now, I've fixed that edge there, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm going back in, making sure there's no air bubbles, wiping the excess, curing.
So by pressing while you're curing, that prevents air bubbles in it, right?
Yeah, but like I said before, you don't want to keep your finger in the middle of the nail, because when you lift your finger up, it's gonna let air bubbles come back in, because it's not cured. It can't cure through your finger. So you just want to make sure that whatever you're putting on there, that like it's getting cured. When I see, like, I watch a lot of videos on application of this product, because Sometimes people come up with different techniques that work better for, you know, depending on what you're doing. I used to put my thumb over all the time, and then I would have a bunch of air bubbles. Then my clients' nails would lift faster, and then, you know, I lost a couple clients because I wasn't doing it properly. And then I watched like 5 million videos, and I was like, that's what I'm doing wrong. I figured it out. Check yourself, guys.
Jade, can you see this one? If you see the bubble inside, how can you fix it?
So if you've already cured it, there's no way to fix it. If it's near the edge, I would recommend removing it because you don't want water to get trapped in there and cause any like fungus or like bacteria in there. But before it's cured, you can see through the nail, and you can not cure it if you feel like there's air bubbles, and you keep applying it until you get a surface that doesn't have any air bubbles. And also, these gel extensions, it's gonna work differently on different people. If their nails are really embedded, like, it's gonna be a little bit harder, but like, that's why you have to keep practicing. I put my own gel extensions on. I feel like that helped me too, because I would see the stuff I was doing wrong on myself, and then I wouldn't do that on my clients. There we go. Beautiful. And this is an awesome way, like if a client's trying to grow their natural nails out, you can let them like do like 2, maybe 3 sets, and then their nails are at a length where they like it, and you just take off the gel extensions, and maybe you want to do a hard gel layover or a gel mani on that client. I think this is the wrong size. I don't think this is the same size as that finger. No. Pay attention too when sometimes your tips get misplaced in here, and you're still gonna do the same process. You're gonna etch the inside of the nail. Then you're gonna primer the inside of the nail. You want to let it dry a little bit. You don't want it to be like wet. And then go in with the adhesive. You can see here, like from the last nail is a little bit too big, so I got a little bit of gel on the sides. You just clean it up around the edges before you cure, because getting the gel off after you cure, it's a pain. You're not going to want to do it. Cure. And then also you guys can notice when I see that there's a little bit of excess and I don't want to wipe it off before I've cured, I put my thumb over it and it doesn't cure. Then I can wipe it off afterwards. And then I just do another cure. Make sure that that little tiny free edge is secure. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, once you guys have applied all your nails and they've gone inside for a full minute, you're gonna want to etch with the buffer the surface of the nail, because if you put your gel polish without etching the surface, your gel polish is going to peel off of that because it's too smooth. It doesn't have a grip. Okay, go ahead and put this hand in. And now you guys can put all the oppressed stuff away or out of the way. And now I'm going to take my buffer and I am going to buff all the shiny off of the gel extension. This is gonna make a better surface for your gel polish to adhere to.
Do you do the same thing when you want them clear?
If you want it clear, if you want it just clear, I would recommend just etching it and doing a top coat. But if they want like the jelly polish, then you're gonna have to buff it, yeah. And also when you're doing a transparent nail, depending on if you have a little bit of residue underneath, like this one you can kind of see just a little tiny bit. It's so minor, it's like not even noticeable. You can top coat the underside of the nail too, so that it looks just glassy and shiny. And once you're done buffing all of this, I like to blend the cuticle line with the nail. So basically what you're doing is you're taking your cuticle bit. Okay, you guys see it's not shiny anymore. It all looks a little bit cloudy. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna take a cuticle bit and you're gonna blend the cuticle line. Some people do this. I like to do it because if the gel extension, like right here, you can see there's like a hard line there. So when you're applying the polish, it might look like a press-on their nail. So I like to take a really like fine cuticle bit, and you don't have to do a crazy amount of work. You just blend that line in with their actual.
So it just softens the edge.
Yeah, it just softens the edge, and if there is any like gel residue on the surface of the nail, you're also cleaning that up too. And you don't want to push too hard. You don't want to do any damage. You know, you just want to blend it in, and it's just real fast, real quick. It seems like unnecessary, and for some people it is unnecessary, but I find my clients feel like it looks more natural.
So you're really focused on like detail of the whole nail, which is awesome.
I'm like really OCD, guys. Sometimes I take a really long time, but my clients are always really happy with how great their nails look. And they always tell me like, nobody ever does this for me. Nobody ever pays attention to that detail. It makes them feel special. It makes them feel like you care. I haven't buffed this side, so I'm gonna go ahead and buff.
Yeah, you're not just in and out of the chair. Okay, that's it. It's done. You really care how it comes out.
I care about that because you know what? Like when that person sits back in my chair, it's all about trust. Like sometimes, you know, you want to keep a professional relationship, but you also need to make it really personal. Like you have to think and consider, how would you feel if you were that client sitting in that chair being rushed out? I'm sure some of you guys have gone to get your nails done and they didn't get all the way to the edge with the polish, or you know, they didn't do as good of a job like you thought they could have, or they promised you something and they didn't follow through. Like you want to make sure that you're treating that client like you would want to be treated yourself. So now all these nails are buffed, and I'm gonna go ahead and blend them as well.
That white buffer, can you use on multiple people, or is that trash too?
You throw all this stuff away.
Okay.
Unless you guys are buying like, they have like metal, like surgical steel, stainless steel, like little paddles that you can apply an adhesive, like sanding paper or something like that. Then you just take off the paper and you disinfect the paddle.
Oh, okay.
But if you guys don't want that, or you don't feel like the metal feels comfortable for your client, because sometimes the metal can be kind of scary for your client, then just go with the disposable ones. And what I do at the end of every service too is all of my gel services include a free scrub. So I buy these little tiny scrubs. They look like little candies. They're called the Wale Spa scrub. Yeah. And they're not that expensive. I go to this nail supply store. It is a little bit far, but they sell a 100-pack for like $15, and that's literally cents for each scrub. And you hand that to your client. You're like, hey, here you go. Here's a scrub. You can do this before you go to bed, or you can do this whenever you want to do some self-care. And then they're like, oh my gosh, I've never gotten something from my nail person. And you can also tell them, hey, I throw away all my files. You can take this file.
Yeah.
Because you can't reuse the file. You're going to throw it away. Maybe there's a little minor thing that you might not have noticed, and your client's like crazy OCD and they need to file it off or something. You're giving them that, and then they feel like, whoa, like, she's giving me my file. She's not going to reuse it. That's that trust thing again, you know? You're making sure that they know that in your hands, there's not going to be an infection. In your hands, they don't have to worry about things that they have to worry about out there. So I've already buffed, and I can't remember if I blended this one, but I'm just going to, I think I did a little bit, but I'm just going to go in and blend a little bit. And once it's all blended, then you can grab your brush, your finger brush, and just dust off your nails. You can also dust here if you want to. Did you want to reshape, cut, or anything?
Yeah, we're doing coffin.
Coffin. Okay, beautiful. How short do you want to go?
Let's do that.
Okay. So already this is coffin. I mean, clearly you're gonna go in and do a little fine tuning, but this is coffin. This is what people want. I love it because it's so easy, it's so convenient. And what I do once I've cut, it's just like a rough cut to the length that they're gonna want. This one's a little bit longer. I'm gonna match up these lengths to each other. So you bend the middle finger a little, and you're not checking from the length of the free edge, because their nails might not all be the same from the free edge. You're checking from the cuticle line up here to the free edge. So I'm matching up those cuticle lines, putting them side by side, and you can clearly see the middle finger is longer. So you're gonna cut whatever you need to cut from there. But I will say that when you guys are doing this, your clients are gonna want all of their nails to be the same length. But just so you know, naturally, if you cut everything to the same length, when their nails are out, this nail's gonna look shorter than the other ones. But that's just because it's a longer finger, so they're thinking of it like from the free edge. You guys just do your work. People always ask me, why do you do that? See how it matches up? The length is the same. Here, the length is the same.
It's like a traveling guide
Mm-hmm.
when you're cutting hair.
So then once I've cut, you guys can do like a little bit of a file here just to taper those like edges real quick. And you want to like get it away from the cuticle. Pinch the sides of the nail a little bit. File. It doesn't need to be a lot because you can see it's already straight. It's most of the work's done for you. You're going to go ahead and do that with all the nails. And you don't want to push too hard when you're filing, because if you get a little cut on this side, that hurts. And every time you go to reach for acetone or cut a lime, you're going to remember your nail tech that cut you. So that's all I'm doing. And then once I've done this, and I know it's not touching the skin, and I've pinched it, and there's nothing like holding the skin, I'm gonna hold it from her perspective again. And I like to file like this. The reason why I don't file like this is because usually one side will be higher than the other, and here you can see it's flat. And it looks awesome to me. What do you think? Do you want it more tapered? How do you feel about it?
No, I like it really sharp.
Okay, cool. And I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing. And also notice how every time I'm filing, I'm protecting my client's skin. I'm holding my finger over there, and I'm holding the base of their nail too, because if I just start filing like that, that nail's gonna be pulling back and forth, and it's gonna feel really uncomfortable for your client. So, and also, I don't really seesaw file. I mostly file forward, and it helps. And then if you do need to do a little reshaping on the top, you can, to make it all even. And then even here, you can hold those nails together and match up the cuticle lines and see if they're the same length. You want to, basically what you're trying to do is, you're not just going to shape each nail and not compare them to each other. You want to keep a consistent shape for your client. And it looks beautiful. It's minimal work. And then with the thumb, you're going to do the same thing. Okay.
Excuse me, students, the ones that are taking the color.
Match the cuticle lines up with the same fingers so that all of my nails are the same length. So I'm just gonna cut. It's the same length. Here I'm gonna do the same thing. Sometimes people forget to do this, and then your client has different nail sizes on each hand. I've had a couple people tell me that they've had nail people that didn't compare each hand to the other hand. So always remember to do this. Okay, and you're gonna do the same thing with this hand. Just pinch the sides, make sure it's not attached to the skin, and creates that seamless look on the sides. Also notice again, like I'm protecting my client, so I'm actually resting the file on my finger so that it's not cutting into her skin. Same thing with my thumb. It's really quick, nothing too crazy. Then you're just gonna do the same thing. Then once you're done filing this whole hand, you're going to compare them again to make sure that they look the same. And if there's any fine tuning, like little last minute filing you need to do, then you do it then. Also, when you guys are shaping the nail, and it's, say you want another shape, you want to shape the tip of the nail before you shape the base of the nail, because that's going to kind of give you that like guideline for how narrow you need to make the base. Because if you make the base too narrow and then your tip's all wide, it's going to look weird. Okay, now I'm going to compare them again. Make sure they match up. Looks good. This one's a little bit longer. This one looks good. Looks good. That looks good. So just this one, I need to make a little bit shorter. You compare again. Just keep referencing back. You want them to match up. And now, after you're done filing and shaping, you want to brush off that dust again. And I also like to flip the hand over and get any dust out that I can from the free edge too. Now you're ready to polish. And the awesome thing about gel extensions is that you don't have to primer or do dehydrator on top of the gel extension like you have to do when you do acrylics, because basically you're having to like create that adhesive surface when you're doing acrylic, but with this it's already gel and you know it's clean because you've been cleaning it the whole time. So then you can take whatever color, whatever you know, nail polish that you want to use. You can use regular polish on gel extensions, but I like to use gel. I feel like people appreciate that more than using regular polish on there. And it's a good price. Like, you know, once you have a good stockpile of color, then you can really, you know, dabble with it and play with it. So, which polish do you like? This one? Okay. So I'm gonna roll my polish really quick because I don't want to shake it. I don't want to create any air bubbles. And also, this is a super glittery polish. So a lot of times with glittery polishes, the glitter settles at the bottom of the bottle. So you don't want it to be all stuck at the bottom and then your nail polish isn't even on each nail. And then you don't have to go thick. You want to go thin. You can always build up the nail because if you go too thick, it causes peeling and stuff. So when I'm painting the nails, I don't go straight into the cuticle line. I actually push my polish. I don't place, and that helps to not have any flooding on your nails. And it looks really nice when most of the brushes that you use for gel, they're meant to push the polish into the cuticle line. And again, I'm pinching the sides of the nail so I can get all the way into the corners. And I go all the way to the free edge. And I even paint the little tiny curve of the free edge. And all of this is just a breeze after.
So it's like a glitter.
Yeah, but we're gonna do more than one coat for sure to make it all even. Put that in there. I love this brand for glitters. It's like the most highly pigmented glitters that I've seen out there. And
Yeah, it's super sparkly.
it's so pretty. And see, I'm just
How many coats of glitter do you usually do?
usually 2, but it totally depends on the client. Like if they want another coat, I never say no or anything like that. Usually with 2, it kind of brings it all even like this. But I mean, that's why you want to do the coats thin, because if you do need to do 3 coats, it's not like crazy thick, you know?
Yeah.
Can she repaint this? Remove and repaint?
Yeah, you can. You can do polish change on this. You just want to file the color off. You don't want to file like the nail off. And also, I know how to do fills on this. So if you are really great with like balance, like if you're really good at doing hard gel, doing a fill on this is so easy. It's literally the same thing as doing a fill on acrylics. You file off all the lifting and the color, and then once you filed and you have that space on the nail, you go back in, you do all the same nail prep like with cleaning the nail and the cuticle work, and then you use like a structure gel, or you could use, I love to use oily builder in a bottle to do fills on gel extensions. It's really strong, and usually my fills last longer than my full set, so it's pretty good. I'm probably gonna do 3 coats.
And then if somebody likes like this color but they don't want to do as many coats, sometimes you could do.
Priscilla, do you want to get our nails by you? Do we have to make them by?
Yes. So these are not like regular nail stickers. They're like nail tattoos. So what you do is how many of them do you want?
Just 2.
Just 2? Okay. So you cut out the one that you want. I like this one.
No, go back.
And let's see, what's this one? So once you cut out the one that you want, you remove that little film on the top of it. So the film's off, and then this one still has a little acetone in there. I'm gonna wipe this off. This is like my little palette, like my artist palette, this little lid. And so what I do is I put these in there, and then I grab them. This is water. You just spray them and make them saturated. Once they're saturated, you can see they're saturated. Then you're gonna grab the little nail tweezers, and it's so easy, it's so fast. You have literally don't have to even think about it. It's like just like a cute little sticker decoration. Once you flatten it out and it's on there good, like it is right now, then you take your top coat and you like seal it in there.
I just think it's the color you got, Jade. It's already way too much, so no se mira mucho.
No, it looks good. You can tell it's there.
You could tell?
Once you do the top coat, it really brings out the shine of it.
I think it's like the angle you look at it. But no, you can tell it's there. Because it's gold, so it's a different color.
And you want to top coat it, top coat the whole nail and get all the way to the edges. Because if you don't top coat the whole nail, you can tell that there's no top coat on certain parts of it. And then once it's top coated, it's in there and you don't have to worry about it. It's gonna stay on. Like I'm looking at this and the glitter is like. Okay, go ahead.
Instagram, you do piercings too?
Yeah. So eventually. Okay, alright, I'll see you then. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, alright, bye. Okay, now we've already wiped the tacky layer and everything. I'm fancy. I like to get
Rose
fancy
water.
cuticle oils. This super
it's
cute.
rose water.
It's no, it's cute. It's body oil,
Rose
but it
oil.
has like little flowers floating around in it. And I just do a quick little swipe on the cuticle line to make it nice and hydrated. And then
I think it was when they had the they're $1.
yeah, I don't like to use like the pink lotion from the nail supply stores. I just feel like it's really thin and it's not very hydrating for the, yeah, so.